Hey, welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show. Good morning. We're happy to have you in here. After last night's game, guys, the LA Rams and the Minnesota Vikings, the divisional round table has been set. And for the first time, look, I think we all assumed that for a Detroit Lions fan, we were pretty much expecting the Tampa Bucks to beat the Commies. And we were pretty much settled on the fact that we were going to have to either square off against the Minnesota Vikings for the third time this season, which we all know statistically it is incredibly difficult to beat a team three times in a row, or we were going to have to listen to another just week of Matt Stafford returning to Ford Field storylines, Jared Goff versus the LA Rams, blah, 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 blah. We heard it, the wild card last year, and then we heard it all week one this year, and I was not here for it. I wasn't looking forward to it. But, hey, guys, we don't have to worry about that because the Washington Commies ended up upsetting the Tampa Bucks. And we get to square off against the 6th seed. While last night's game proved a couple of things, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because LA has to go and tangle with the Philadelphia Eagles. And that should be a pretty good game. Lions and Commies in the divisional round. Eagles and Rams in the divisional round, and then there's a couple of, AFC games that we're not going to worry about quite yet. Maybe we'll talk about them later on in the week. But, guys, we got a little breakdown here for you, stepping outside of our normal Lions pool. We got an article here breaking down a little bit of the Rams and Vikings game last night. Now, there are some things that we can look at here that I think are related to the Detroit Lions. But before we jump into that, go ahead and do me a rock solid. Go ahead and like the video if you enjoy the content that we provide here. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to be part of the Hat and Beard team. Go ahead and ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on any future content. And comment down below, are you glad that we don't have to listen to Matt Stafford returning to Ford Field, Jared Goff against Sean McVay? I'm glad that I don't have to hear it, at least hypothetically. For another week, though, I think the Eagles, even though they will be down to Kobe Dean, I think the Eagles will be able to handle the LA Rams, and we will finally get the 1 and the 2 in the NFC squaring off against each other. The game that we've all wanted all season long, with the NFC title game being played in Ford Field with the Philadelphia Eagles, and Darius Slay making his big return. So here we go, coming to us from sportingnews.com. Rams vs. Vikings final score results. LA defense batters Sam Darnold. Serves notice ahead of Eagles matchup. Now, the Rams defense is very good. They happen to just get incredibly lucky, or they did their homework, and you go from one generational talent on the defensive line like Aaron Darnold, and they're able to secure what looks like to be another generational talent. Arguably, he's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year hands down. That's Jared Verse. And then they also were able to run it back in the second round and grab Braden Fisk. You guys know, if you were here last year in mock draft and draft season, which is coming up, I was very high on Braden Fisk. I thought the Lions might be able to make some sneaky moves and go ahead and get after him. But those guys are really just very electrifying rookies. They also have some other young talent on the defensive line. So the Rams defense is legit. And, if they can put it all together and everybody can click on offense, they are a pretty electrifying team. And that's saying that because I'm not a big Matt Stafford fan. So, talking about the game, coming into Monday's wild card game, most fans and analysts would have told you that one of the offensive superstars would be the X factor in the Rams-Vikings matchup. We had a lot of heavyweight hitters coming in on offense, JJ, Sam Darnold having a Cinderella season, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, just, the some of the upper echelon names. And then some of them proved to be exactly who we thought they were. Maybe Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. Instead, it was LA's ferocious pass rush that made the difference in the 27-9 victory. The last 2 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings have put up a whopping 18 points. At least they scored a touchdown in this game, but safe to say that when you look at the box score of the game, Aaron Glenn has figured something out about Kevin O'Connell. Okay, he has owned him since coming to Detroit. He has been able to stop whatever O'Connell wants to do. And then, of course, Ben Johnson is able to overcome Brian Flores' high-flying defense that they had in Minnesota. But I think what you've seen here was Aaron Glenn laid out the blueprint and the plan on how to beat the Minnesota Vikings. And then, as they limped out of Week 18, broken and battered, clearly Sam Darnold was a giant open wound that Aaron Glenn just said, "Hey, look here, see what we can do. See, look right here." And then they really needed the bye week to really patch things up. They lost to Detroit, so they did not get the 1 seed. We got the 1 seed in this beautiful, beautiful bye week. And then Minnesota, with that big festering wound, limped out to LA, and the LA Rams having one of the more professional and obviously higher caliber coaching staffs, as well as very talented players on defense. They were able to just poke and pick and dig at that wound that Aaron Glenn left on Sam Darnold. The Rams defense took down Sam Darnold 9 times Monday night, tying a single playoff game record. They turned one of those QB takedowns into a score when Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate, going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, picked up a strip sack on Darnold and took it 57 yards to the house. Aside from the sack total, the Rams defense, overall poor play from Darnold will be one of the key storylines coming out of this game. He looked like Sam Darnold from the Jets. Everything I heard, I did not get to watch all of the game. I was at work. On the heels of one of the worst outings of the year in a 31-9 loss to the Lions in Week 18. That's right. Darnold was arguably even worse in LA, completing 25 of 40 passes for just 245. One score, one INT, and one forced fumble that they took back to the house. That is not the performance that Sam Darnold was hoping to have. Boy, it is snowing pretty good out here. He, especially in a contract year, is going to want to be able to get a bag somewhere. And he probably just seen several millions of dollars come off of any offer that could be coming down the pike for him, whether that be to stay in Minnesota as the built-in backup forever for J.J. McCartney to help develop him, consider him maybe an insurance policy, because obviously they kind of know what they have with him now. Excuse me. Or, I see him going to someplace like Tennessee or Oakland, or Las Vegas, not Oakland, the Raiders, because situations. Or maybe, they try and do something. Maybe Richardson in Indianapolis gets shipped out and Indy goes after a Sam Darnold or something like that. We're not here to talk about that. We'll address that later on in the offseason. It doesn't show up in the box score, but Darnold is largely to blame for the lofty sack numbers. In initial data from PFF, Darnold's average time to throw was 3.19 seconds, and he took a sack on 41% of pressures. Wow. And if they were getting after him, wow, that means, wow. After 2 brutal outings in a row, there will be plenty of questions about Sam Darnold's viability as a starting quarterback. On the other side of the ball, the Rams secured their first playoff win since their 2021 Super Bowl run on the back of a dominant defensive play and a handful of solid drives led by Karty, Matthew Stafford, 19 of 27 for 209, 2 tuggies, and no turnovers. Not necessarily the best performance, 19 is 27, 209. He connected earlier with Kyren Williams, who had 19 touches and 92 yards. That's why he didn't have that big of an outing. And he also had a rushing tugger. And went into cruise control after a key second quarter review that overturned. Yeah, so Matt Stafford looked like it was a strip sack that the Vikings ran back for a touchdown, but apparently review said no, he was the incomplete pass. So I haven't seen it myself yet. I haven't watched it, but if you want to talk about narratives, we could say that narratively the refs were trying to help LA because the game was being played in Arizona. We all know what's going on in LA. Obviously, a Democrat-run city and state allocated funds and resources wrongly, and now everybody in Los Angeles is paying the price for it. What initially looked like a scoop and score after Stafford fumbled, we just talked about that. LA will now have the privilege of heading to Philly to take on the Eagles in the divisional round Sunday afternoon. This is set to be a gritty battle between two defenses that dominated in the wild card round. Yeah, they were pretty good defenses, but the Eagles have lost to Kobe Dean, and I know Slay got banged up pretty well, but Philly has just depth. They have a lot of depth on defense. We're not gonna break down the blog action. But we will just sit here and revel in the fact that somehow the best division in football all season long, the NFC North, who had 3 teams represented in the playoffs, are down to 1. There is 1 team left in the NFC from the NFC North representing. There are 2 teams from the NFC East. Minnesota, though, you guys have a lot of questions coming up as far as what you want to do with Sam Darnold, and boy, that's going to sit pretty. 14 wins this season, and your last 2 games, arguably the 2 most important games all season. The Week 18 to win the NFC North and get the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, getting a first round bye and home field advantage, and then after you lost that, putting up only 9 points on a, at the time, battered, broken, and bruised, worthless Detroit Lions defense, to then come out and sputter against a highly touted Rams defense and drop 9 as well. Not a good look. Not a good look, Minnesota. Not a good look. A lot of questions, and that Brian Flores defense giving up some points the past couple weeks. Giving up some points. So, yeah. Well, let me know what you guys think down below. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I've been Hattenbeard. You've been an attentive audience. Share this around with all your friends if you made it this far. Hopefully you guys are staying nice. Oh, there's a nice red cardinal sitting right outside my window. That's pretty cool. So, all right, guys, that's going to be it for me. I've been Hattenbeard. Stay out of trouble. We'll see you at 4 p.m. with a little bit of Lions injury update news. So, bonga bonga, frig off.